everyone. We are back, and also coming back with us is ToastedKat. He's going to stick around and Spyro United Trilogy 1, 120%. I'm just going to hand that straight over to him, and he can jump into that.
Yep, thank you. All right, I'm ready on time. Just jump straight into it in 3, 2, 1, and go. Oh, one menu too early. So this is Reignited 120. I'm sure you guys have seen a couple of Reignited runs today. If you were around just like 10 minutes ago, you saw through Annie. There is a lot of differences though. Even though this game does not have as many tricks as like Spyro 2 and 3, there's still going to be a lot of changes from the original game. So we'll get to show those off a bit. Category is 120. That's the max percent for this game. So it's going to be getting all the gems, all 12,000 gems, all 80 dragons, all 12 eggs for the 100%. And then we're going to be going into the bonus level to get the last 2,000 gems. You guys probably didn't know all that. So you're going to see right here, the route immediately changes from the original game. We're going straight into Stonehill, actually. If you saw in Spyro 3, we talked about how in Reignited they added guide booking, where you can warp to any level you've been to, and that massively changes the route for a couple of the home worlds. So in Artisans, it allows us to do the levels in a different order. You can actually do the levels in a different order than I do and not lose any time, but we do the levels that are the hardest first, so we start off with Stonehill. And most of the levels not that difficult, but you'll see exactly why in just a second. Getting our first dragon of the run, Gildas. So a lot of Stonehill is just taking really good jet lines. The gems are spread out. Gonna be doing a quick boosted jump here to get on top of this roof. It's like a 1 second optimization than how we used to do this roof area. So nice little bit of time save. And then coming up here in a second is the first thief of the run. I'm gonna just focus for a second and make sure I get it, and then I'll explain what I did. All right, so the thieves in this game are a lot more difficult to get than the original game. They are very fast and run away from you from a pretty far away distance. For that thief in particular, we need to take a very specific line so that he ends up in a spot where we can get him from. Also, when you get a thief, they normally play a about 4-second cutscene of you like collecting the egg. And by being in the air, you actually don't get that cutscene. So that what I did is I flamed and then jumped immediately after, so that by the time the thief died, I was considered in the air, and it just did not play the cutscene. So, 12 thieves, 4 seconds per cutscene. Skipping all those saves like almost a minute. So, pretty nice time save. Gonna jump down into this well and land. Missed the little key hitbox, or like the hitbox of the chest by a little bit. And then we're gonna guidebook out into the Artisan's homeworld. This guidebook saves like less than a second of just exiting the level, but still a little bit of time save. There's like, you're locked into like a gliding out of the level animation when you leave it, so just going to the Artisans right there lets you skip that. Something I discovered somewhat recently is that for whirlwinds, I used to jump into the whirlwind at like the highest point I could, thinking that, the closer you are to the top, the less you travel in it. But I actually timed it recently because of something Cameron said. And it turns out the speed of the whirlwind doesn't matter where you enter it. It always takes the same speed to get to the top. So instead of jumping, I just charge straight into the bottom now. Minor optimization, but that's what this category is. Just a lot of small optimizations everywhere. Now, going into Town Square, there's going to be some bowls that run back and forth, and I'm going to want to hit a cycle on the bowl running around the fountain at the end of the level. So so I'm gonna try my best to not mess up anything in the level, because the cycle's pretty tight, where if you miss anything, you're gonna miss it. It's not a huge time loss if you miss it, but it's something I want to hit. Do you want to flame all these bowls? Because if you charge them, they get their horns stuck in the ground, and then their hitbox stays, and they can mess with you a little bit, so just want to make sure you flame them and pick up their gem. Right here, gonna get the next thief. He jumps back up just high enough that you can get him with your flames, so I, again, flame and jump, so that way I'm in the air when the cutscene starts. This is one of the bull cycles I want to hit, and I'm on a pretty good cycle, so I can kill him and then get the dragon. I'll walk back and pick up the gem during the cutscene, and then this bull right here. Since I was able to get that cycle nice, he was right in front of me when I dropped down, and was able to pick up the gem during the cutscene as well. And then we're gonna guidebook back to Artisans. This is one of the bigger like guidebooking saves, having to not run back from the side area that Town Square is in. Saves a bit of time. Now we're gonna unlock the secret flight that everyone knows about. Sunny Flight. The flight controls are pretty different from the original game. Something they did carry over is that the closer you are to the water, the faster you fly. So it's not too noticeable from just watching, but it does speed up the flight by a couple seconds overall. So I'm going to be dropping and staying as close to the water as much as I can. Also, you are able to charge and then like get another glide or start flying again. So I'm going to be charging to drop quickly as well, and also make tighter turns. So here's this plane cycle. I'm gonna want to be hitting all these planes. You can kind of like circle around and get these planes as well as the trains as they are circulating. Very nice. See here, I'm gonna charge and get like a nice turn. And I'm gonna be going for an arch proxy here. Aw, I didn't get it. So when you see when I go through this arch, it kind of breaks into pieces as you fly through it. And if you are in a very specific spot on that one arch, you can actually land on one of the pieces of shrapnel as they fly out and have it fling you towards the next arch, which saves you about a second. It looks cooler than it's actually useful, but I like it. And then I'm going to be going for an animation cancel here, where, let me go for it and then I'll explain it. Nice. So when you finish the flight, Spyro will like fly up and he will do a little spin and all the objectives will like collect. If you bonk into something as that flight animation's happening, it just cancels it and sends you straight to the retry screen. So you saw there, I was just barely able to hit the tip of like a gem that was sticking out of the wall and cancel an animation, which saves about 3.5 seconds. Going into Dark Hall, this level is pretty straightforward. There's a couple little things that I'll explain when I get closer to them, but plenty easier. It's probably the easiest level in this homeworld, to be honest. Nothing too complex going on. It's right this. Oh, I missed that guy. I'll get him in a second. Right here, I'm gonna jump into this tunnel and then go back. Oh, okay, I messed that up too. But normally, you will. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to wait for this guy, unfortunately. Oops. So normally you can jump into the tunnel and then quickly jump out, and that'll have the big guy run towards you, and then he'll kind of roar at you to like scare you, but then he won't turn around while he's doing that, so you can just walk right behind him and flame him in the back, and then the second guy will line up better if you do that, but kind of messed it up. And then I missed this guy, so I'm just gonna have to go down here for him real quick. A lot of the time save in this game comes from, you know, like taking the tightest lines and cutting corners as fast as possible. So every once in a while, like I cut that thief or that enemy just a little bit too tight and missed him. A little unfortunate, but not too big of a deal. And then right here, I'm gonna jump over to this little side area and pick up some gems, and then I'm gonna jump back. You can just barely get back up here. And then I'm gonna be doing the same thing on the other side in just a second. Yep, just like that. And then we're gonna be going to the boss level next, Toasty. And in order to go into the boss level, we need to leave through one Vortex, which is the return home portal that you just saw right there. And we just do Dark Hollow because there are gems right around it anyways, so might as well just jump in the portal since you're right there. Now, right here, they added skill points to this game, and this one's supposed to be for reaching a hard-to-reach platform. That's the in-game description of it. And you can actually make it up there without gliding at all, which is funny. You can just jump straight up. I don't go for it because it saves like 1/10 of a second probably or something like that. And if you mess it up, it makes you look dumb, but... And now, going into Toasty, this level has one of the only enemies that will actually take 2 hits to die. It's these dogs. And what I'm going to be doing to kill them faster is called a flame roll cancel. So you'll see right here, I'm going to very quickly flame, then roll, and then jump, and then flame. And what that does is I roll to cancel the flame, and then jump to cancel the roll, and that lets me spit out 2 flames very quickly and kill these dogs very fast. They can be a little finicky though, and sometimes they'll just eat a flame or ignore it and you take a hit, and nothing you can really do about it, but so far I'm getting pretty good luck. Dogs are behaving nicely. And then for the first boss, very threatening, you know. This boss takes more hits to kill than Nasty, so you know, very difficult. Yep, very clean Toasty. I'm just gonna run over here and wait for this wall to go down. And then we're gonna guidebook back to Artisans. And you may have noticed I ran past Nestor like 3 times, and that's because he's just slightly faster to get here. You're actually able to... Nestor's normally unskippable, but if you jump right before you collect him for whatever reason, you are able to skip him, so I just jumped into him, and that just lets me get him. I don't know why. I couldn't tell you.
Are you ready to go?
And that's the end of Artisans. Something else I did right on that balloonist is something called EBL, which stands for Early Balloonist Load. And we time this game in loadless. So, for whatever reason, that's a common theme in this game. It's just because the developers made it that way. We don't know why. If you jump into a balloonist, like talk trigger, and you mash through his dialogue before you hit the ground, the loadless timer will pause right when you finish the dialogue instead of when you get on the balloon, which saves about 2 seconds per balloonist. And then I think Green said it earlier, but Peacekeepers is the biggest and most recent change to the homeworld route because of guidebooking. So we used to actually damage abuse and go over to Night Flight, but instead we're gonna go over to Dry Canyon, sorry. And you'll see why that is once we finish Night Flight. Right at the start here is a fan chest. It's the one in Town Square. But for this one, what I'm going to do is flame and then roll and then flame and then roll and then flame. And the fan chest has like a cooldown on it from when you can flame it. So if you flame it too fast, it doesn't actually count. But if you roll, like I said, that cancels the flame. So you can flame it just a little bit faster than if you just mashed flame. And then something I used in a couple places already, and I think I mentioned it in Stonehill, is a boosted jump. where if you charge and then slide your thumb from charge to jump, you carry the momentum from the charge into the jump and also get a little bit of extra height, which I did on that staircase right there to be able to get up to that step, or like that second step, and skip the first one. Very, very small time save, but it does help out in a few other places. And then coming up here is going to be another quick thief kill. I'm going to run off this upper area and the right way, if I do it right. Yeah, and he'll just run right into you. And if you, like I said, during the air, don't get the cutscene. Oh. So there's a couple sets of like 2 or 3 spring chests in this game. And if you time your jump just right, you don't want a max height jump, but you want a little bit less, you can do that, where you are able to like bump the front, or bump the first one with your front, and then bump the second one with your back, and get them both very quickly. Oh, it's that red gem. Also ran a little bit to the right, more than I needed in that room, so that I could bait that bullshit out early. That's why it was like already charging at me when I turned the corner. Oh, okay. Whoops. A little short on that jump. Just glide for a second. That is the thing with 120, is a lot of it is just very precise movement and optimizing that movement. So you make, you just, it's like a couple pixels too short in that jump, and and then I fell, lost like a couple seconds. That's what makes this a tough category to run. Just gonna collect these last few gems and then exit level. Okay. This game has cursor memory, so like wherever you leave your cursor on the menu, when you leave the menu and come back, it'll just be in the same spot. But that cursor memory doesn't persist through like closing the game and opening it, so I just waited a second there to make sure I was on exit level. And then I'm gonna go for something here. Nope, I didn't get it. So what I was going for is something called a fly-in skip. If you know this game, you'll know that the beginning of every level has like a big loop-de-loop Spyro does to fly into the level. And the fly-in skip skips that. You can probably tell from the name. If you frame perfect pause on the same frame you touch the loading zone of the portal, the game will think you're in that level even though you're still like physically in the home world. And then what you can do from there is quit to the main menu and continue, and because the game thought you were in the level, it'll put you at the start of that level as if you were already in it. So that skips having to watch the big loop-de-loop. And like I said, we run this game in loadless time, so load screens don't count. But the loadless timer unpauses once the load's done a little bit into that fly-in, so hitting that saves about 4.5 seconds. So, but like I said, frame perfect pause. We run this game on 50 FPS, so not the easiest thing. There's a couple more chances I'll have to get it, so gonna get up here to get these couple chests, playing this firework, and then quick kill that thief. I actually jumped up on that platform a little bit, like I went out of my way a little bit to jump up because it manipulates the thief to be in a better spot. Then also right here, normally you can't grab these gems until they're like landed from the pot, but if you pick up another gem while they're falling out and stand underneath it, the gem will be collectible once it's on, like once it hits your head. So it just allows you to pick it up about a second earlier. Oops. Alright. That pot on the left, for some reason I miss flaming that a lot, and I'm not really sure why, but... Then in this outer area, I'm gonna do a couple of like baits on these vultures so that they fly out to me and I don't have to run as much. So I'm gonna go out a little bit after this gem to bait that one. That way I can turn around and kill both of them right here. Then I can run directly at this gem and run a little bit past it to bait the one on my left. So that way, just have to go out of my way a little less for them. Just gotta clean up the last little bit of this level, get the last dragon. Pretty good click down overall. Once I leave Clifftown here, there's going to be a cannon that I'm going to use to shoot a couple metal chests and a big rock to open up Night Flight. There's a thing in this game where you can actually use multiple inputs to steer the cannon. So right now I'm pushing right on the D-pad and on analog, and that allows it to turn twice as fast as it's supposed to. In the other cannon, in Dreamweavers, I actually use analog, D-pad, and an arrow key on my keyboard to turn it 3 times as fast, and it's kind of unnecessary, but it's cool and saves just a little bit more time, so it's nice. The most you can get is if you have like big enough hands, you can hit WASD and arrow key and move it at 4 times speed, which gets kind of ridiculous. Little boosted jump to get up here early. Not too much going on in Shemp. I'm going to be just killing these enemies. There was one enemy there where like you flame before you hit the metal guy, because then the flame extends out and kills the big mama. Just get it just that little bit faster. Unfortunately, boys, I've tried that before, but you can only do 1 input per device. So if you plug in 2 controllers and use like both on the analog, it only goes at 1 time speed, sadly. But yeah, this guy, another boss fight. If I didn't tell you, you probably wouldn't know. Bosses in this game are not very difficult. Just wait for him to turn around, flame him. That's the whole fight. We do have an unofficial category in this game called Cheeks Percent that I forget if I made it or not. It's been so long. But it's basically just beat Artisan to get the Shemp to kill him as fast as possible. That's the whole category. Nice Shemp. Very tough boss. Gotta break out all the strats. And then, like I said, that rock I broke earlier is gonna let me get up to Night Flight. Oh, missed the gem there. Yeah, this category has come, this game in general has come a long way, but especially 120s in like just recently. I think the record's gone down by like 6 or 7 minutes since it was shown at the SRT showcase like a year ago. So lots of things have been improved, and you'll get to see the main thing in the next homeworld, but I'm not going to spoil that just yet. It's Night Flight, probably the easiest flight. There's not a lot going on. There's nothing moving around, no cycles. Just going to be diving to stay as close to the water as I can. There are some places where it's faster to charge, and some places where it's faster to just dip, like right here. So you just have to know where. Like right here after this chest, I'm gonna go up and then immediately charge down to get close to the water. And like I said, this game has like, you're able to charge and do a lot of quick turns that you wouldn't be able to do otherwise, and you're gonna see that really right here. It's the best example of it. I'm gonna get this slant and then be able to drop down and get this arch. Saves a couple seconds over the old route of doing that. The only video setting that makes a difference for all of SRT is your frame rate. The lower your FPS, the higher you jump, although the leaderboard requires you play between 30 and 60, so the most common FPSs are 30 and 50. For Spiral 1, you play on 50 for pretty much every category, because there's not too many jumps that are hard enough that like 30 is necessary, but in Spyro 2 and 3 for the most part, people are going to be playing on 30. So you see I'm playing at 50 right now. And then this is the Peacekeepers reroute I was talking about. So instead of doing the old order, I'm going to go into this side area, and since like there's nothing around here, I'm be able to go back to Shemp and then exit level, and that will put me just closer to Icy, or to Ice Cavern, my bad. Like I said, this game is timed with loadless, so we're actually not losing any loadless time going. It only costs like a second or two going from that cave out to over here. Oh, nice. Those spring chests especially are spaced very weirdly so that it's pretty difficult to like get both of those cleanly. I'm glad I did. Going into Ice Cavern, this level has nothing too fancy in terms of the tricks, but it has a lot of tricky and precise movement. I'm going to do a boosted jump here and then a charge, and that allows me to just kind of head smash that spring chest and get it quickly. Whoops. So a lot of the movement here is just going to be going through and getting, taking very tight lines, picking up gems as quickly as possible. Nothing too insane. One of the things you might have noticed over the original game is that Spyro turns a lot sharper. In the original game, he kind of just like, when you have to make a turn, like a 180 turn, you kind of just like have to jump and spin around and it takes a bit. In this game, he just turns on a dime. So a lot of getting good at this game is getting good at like turning exactly to where you need to go and taking very, very good lines. That death abuse was intentional, by the way. Grab the key, grab a couple of the gems that are hiding in that corner, and then I'm gonna warp back up here to be able to unlock this key chest. So I'm gonna start explaining the thing that's gonna happen in the next homeworld because it's right at the start and it's pretty lengthy explanation. Back when this game, back when this game came out, it was on, you know, the original game was on PS1, so it's controller only. And then when this game, the remaster came out on console, it was also controller only. So, you know, the majority of people, when this game came to PC, also played on controller, just because it feels more natural to a lot of people. But a couple people ran it on keyboard mouse, because it does have keyboard mouse support. And one runner named Blackluster figured out that you can actually turn sharper using your mouse to steer than you can using analog. And that doesn't really have a huge impact on the majority of the game. Like you can see here, I'm able to take, you know, very good lines and tight turns just fine on controller. But when it comes to supercharging, it makes a huge difference. And so any level that has a supercharge ramp looks completely different than it did a year ago. You're gonna see some crazy stuff going on once we get to Magic Raptors. Routing this game, or routing any level with a ramp, has become a game of how long can we hold the supercharge for and how many things can we grab. So just gonna clean up the last few gems here and then on our way out. Over here, the last enemies I have to kill, these guys are just like randomly wherever they feel like they want to be. Yeah, so they're not in the tent, so a little slow. And this guy's over here. Yeah, they can just do whatever they want. That's kind of unlucky. Not a big deal. And you see there, I did the EBL, like I talked about before. Just jumped into the balloonist talk trigger and I mashed through it before I hit the ground. And also another side effect of that is it kind of it doesn't adjust Spyro's position before putting him on the balloon, so I'm kind of just facing sideways now. Which means I'm gonna have to account for that when I leave the balloon at the start of Magic Crafters. Yeah, so it's gonna spit me out backwards almost. Very quickly, just gonna jump and get this thief. And you might be expecting me, if you know the original game's route, to go into Alpine. but we are not going to be doing that. It's going to be going straight into high caves. And it should be clear why. And we actually do high caves. It's the only level in the run we do in 2 parts. We actually revisit it. And some of that has to do with the loadless timer and just how the level's broken up. Quickly gonna get this thief as well. Nice. If you know how to manipulate the thieves, they just a lot of the time will run straight into you like that. So, also I went for another fly in and didn't get it. So hopefully I'll be able to get one. There's 2 other levels where it saves time. If I miss the next one, and I might just go for it on a couple levels to try and show it off because it's cool to see, even if it won't save me time on those levels. Like I said, frame perfect pause, game's running at 50, so it's not the easiest thing. It's also no like real visual cue. You kind of just are pausing when it feels right. So, oh, if you think you've been sleeping on this game so far, this is when the run gets crazy. So the first half of this level is going to be normal, going to be running through it. But once we get to the ramp, that's when things get complicated. Been practicing it and been doing it very consistently, so hopefully I can get the whole thing. There's plenty of other supercharged strats to show off on this run, so if I don't hit this one, you'll still see it. Hopefully. Pick up these gems. Oh. Kind of did that backwards. Supposed to flame those first 2 chests and then charge the second 2, but not a big deal. So I'm gonna skip this dragon and I'm gonna switch to keyboard mouse while I'm running towards this ramp, and here's where things get crazy. I'm gonna focus for a second. No. Oh, okay. Well, didn't get it all the way, but most of the way. Ideally, you could take it over here and get these couple fan chests and then end it on this thief, but I'll just have to get the thief like this and then... Not that big of a deal. Yeah, so the way the supercharge works is it builds up speed over time. I'm going to be going straight into another supercharge strat here, so actually give me 1 second. Yeah, so you can see that's why we went into high caves, because we're able to just break all of the fan chests and stuff, and the key chest, with 1 supercharge on the way back down. Yeah, just hold charge. That's all you have to do. Yeah, so the way the supercharge works, what I was going to say, is it builds up, it starts off slow and builds up speed over time. And so a lot of what we do, like you saw at the start of the first supercharge, is you kind of lean into walls to slow your speed so that you're actually able to get everything you need to. Not necessarily everywhere, but in a lot of places. I'm sure there's still more supercharge routes to be found where you can like charge an entire level without stopping, but we've done our best to find routes. I'm pretty proud of what we found so far. Right here, I'm gonna have to wait on this cycle anyway, so I took those spring chests a little slow. Pretty cycle-based level. I could have gotten that fan chest for faster, but I'm gonna be waiting on this next cycle anyway, so it doesn't really make a difference. As long as I don't mess anything up. There's also a thief at the end of this level, and it's really dumb, but for whatever reason, the thief will run away faster if you charge at it while it's laughing at you. My theory is that if it's in the middle of a laugh, it won't play like a specific animation of it getting like scared and jumping up. But I have no proof, that's actually why. So I'm gonna actually wait for the thief to laugh and then charge at it, and that'll give me enough time to catch it before it runs away. But that'll be in a minute. I always have to wait on the cycle. You can't make this one, unfortunately. I did miss that guy. He was in a bad spot, so I'm gonna hope he's running toward or like walking towards me when I come around here. Yep, that guy. Very good. Yeah, usually I pause my music to listen to this thief laughing, but I am playing the in-game music, so hopefully I can hear it clear enough. Oh, don't miss that. Yeah, I got a bad cycle, so I'm gonna wait for him to finish laughing, and then I'm gonna go at him. If you try to do that while he's in the middle of laughing, you will not be able to get him. He goes way too fast. Until that was figured out, this was the most frustrating thief in the game, because if you miss that, you're losing like 20-30 seconds because you have to chase him around twice. He's really fast. Yep, so just gonna clean up these. Oh, whoops. Jumped a little bit off there. Not a big deal. I'm gonna respawn right here anyways. Not too bad. Meant to do that. There we go. Head bash off this one, and now I'm gonna warp back to High Caves. Like I said, we do High Caves in 2 parts. I'm gonna be put back at the start, and that's gonna allow me to clean up this cave that I like kind of charged through. I got the spiders, so I don't have to worry about those, but I do need to clean up these gems that we missed before. Okay, that spider's out of the way. And then this is why I left the dragon. You have to like kind of leave yourself time to switch to keyboard mouse. And it's easier when you're running past it on the other, like on the other half, to just run past them and switch then. But you don't have as much time this time. So I'm gonna get those fireworks, get this thief, slow down on this wall, and then I'm able to carry it through the rest of this cave. And then clean up all these chests. And then that's 500. Nice. Supercharges have gone well so far. That's like the highlight of this run, is they look very flashy and they're also very difficult. May have thought I missed this dragon, but gonna get him this time. And then I'm gonna do one more supercharge. Actually, there's one more in Wizard Peak, but that one's not very impressive, just very short one. Mostly intended in Wizard Peak. Yeah, originally that dragon at the top of the hill in front of High Caves, I used to leave him and get him on my way to Wizard Peak because I'd charged those 2 enemies on the way, like in front of that guy that moves the wall up and down. But I don't do that anymore, but I still leave the dragon. 1, so I didn't mess up my splits, and 2, because people think that I miss them and it's funny. It's the only reason, really. So I'm gonna run around and just get the outside gems here first. There is a little glitch that's not too useful, but there is one place, I think this is the only place I intentionally used it, because it lines up nicely every time. But you'll see here, I'm gonna kill a fodder in a second while picking up a gem. Oh, okay, never mind. So I guess I didn't get to show it off, but if you kill a fodder while in the middle of picking up a gem, Sparks actually won't. He'll keep going after the fodder, but he'll still be picking up gems too, so you can just run through there and not have to worry about missing them, because normally if Sparks is going after a fodder, he won't pick up gems. If you time it right, he will. Gonna do a little trick to get up to this ledge so I don't have to go around. And then this is the only like keyboard mouse supercharge part that I do. And it's just to get some of these spring chests with the supercharge instead of having to flame them. So you can like, just like that, sideswipe them to get them all. And then I'm gonna get this thief. And then Death Abuse. Now this is actually the only supercharge I do on controller, and that's because there's nothing that you need keyboard mouse for. And I switch right to controller right after, so just do it on controller, it's easier. Yeah, that's one of the key difficulties of this game, is being good on multiple inputs, which, you know, being at the top level of a game and on one input is difficult enough. But having to be good at 2. adds another layer, which I like personally. I know some people don't. Just gonna be cleaning up the last of the enemies going up Lucas Hill. If you're here for the NBS run tomorrow, there's actually a supercharge where you're able to get pretty much all the gems on this hill and a little bit more with one supercharge, but for 120, we just run up and get all the gems. And pretty nice Wizard Peak. This run's going pretty well so far, honestly. Better than I expected, which is always nice. Alright, going into Crystal Flight, one of the rules of flight levels is to never hit triangle, because if you hit triangle, Spyro 1 doesn't have a hover like 2 and 3 do, so it just drops you down, which in normal levels is fine, but in flights you can't fly again for like another couple seconds, which usually means you're going to fall in the water and die. But right there at the start of the level, I hit triangle because it drops you down and you're able to spin around and go backwards to that first arch. And then you can clean up these planes going against them. That's like the one place that you should be hitting triangle in a flight level. I'm actually going to take this little bit of water in particular carefully, because that's like the most common place to hit the water when you're trying to hug it close for whatever reason right after that arch. Just lose like the 10th of a second and play it a little safe. Unfortunately, no Boldar skip in this game. We just get him on the way out. It's a little faster because he puts you closer to Blowhard to get him on the way out than on the way in. And we're just going to clean up the last of the gems, and if I haven't missed anything, we should be at 5100 on this loading screen. Yep, nice. Blowhard is has some of the most annoying enemies in this game. These electric wizards will shoot at you from a pretty far away, and you need to get through this first section fast because you want to make some moving platform cycles in the middle of the level. So I'm gonna try my best to not take a hit, but see, that guy was mean and shot at me, but I didn't get that double sprung, so I'm probably gonna be a cycle behind. Oh man, I think I would have just barely made that, but I missed the flame. It's okay, not a big deal. And then right there, you can do another boosted jump to just barely flame that guy and make the platform rise up a little faster. Pretty nice. Oh, okay. Game froze for like a little bit and that threw me off. We're fine, everything's fine. Just finishing up Blowhard. A lot of the time you end up sparkless here, but it actually doesn't make a difference because you're going to catch all these gems out of the air anyways, and then just skip this last chest and do the Vortex. Usually leaving through the Vortex is slower, but since the chest is right in front of it, you just hit it on the way in. And then gonna do another EBL. Nice. That one's hard to do because you kind of have to enter it from a angle, and it can kind of be weird the way you jump into it. Only about a minute behind PB right now, so this one's going very well actually for a marathon. Our man Mr. Green Soul in chat right now is like the master of consistency in this game. I am not as consistent as him. Going into terrace, a lot of this level is cycle based. There's the electric floors that shock, and I want to make those cycles obviously the best I can to be able to get through them and not take hits. The first half of the level I can mess up on a little bit because the cycles don't load in until you get this first dragon, but once I get past that, can't really mess up, or else I'm gonna be losing time to cycles waiting on them. So. Something I haven't mentioned, but I just did on that staircase right there. A lot of the time, or in this game, the fastest way to climb stairs is to mash X, because you want to jump up to just above the stair, and then when you hit X, you'll glide down onto it. And then as soon as you hit the ground, you can immediately jump again. So if you do that really quickly, you can climb the stairs very fast. Oh. Yeah. Fan chest can be a little finicky with your flame, where it looks like you're hitting it and you don't, so I had to do a couple extra flames there, but not a big deal. Alright, now this is the part I can't mess up on, or I'll mess up some cycles. Gonna make a unintended jump right here. You can just barely get over that. Okay. Ooh. I might be a little bit behind, but I think we'll be fine. We'll make it work. Okay, we're fine. Oh, never mind. I thought I had enough time, just barely missed it. And then right here, I'm gonna walk to the left to avoid that fodder, because I don't want to pick it up, or else Sparks will not be picking up the gems. I'm gonna have to wait on this one too, but that's alright. You can actually do something I've nicknamed a shock jump, where you can, there's like a couple frames between when these guys hit the floor and when it actually starts shocking. And if you jump in between that, you can land back on the floor while it's shocking and not take damage. So that's one way to kind of catch back up if you are behind on cycles. But if you play the level right, you should never have to do that, so. Clean up the last enemy and gem, and then we're gonna leave. Pretty good terrace overall. Next, we're gonna be going into my most hated flight level, Wild Flight. Not a fan of this one. I'm not very good at it. I shouldn't die, but there's always the chance. One part in oh, okay. Okay. Never fallen there before, but alright. I would have liked to have blue sparks there, because we're going to be going into Misty Bog right after, but if I don't mess up the flying skip, it won't matter, so we'll just do that. Just won't mess up. So right at the start here, I'm going to charge and immediately turn around because I want to do these boats backwards. This part is the part that I can mess up. I want to get this boat and then make a turn into this arch and then just barely, okay, get that boat. All good. It can be kind of hard to get that turn through the arch the right way and then be able to catch that boat. Also, I think, like I said in Sunny Flight, the arches break into pieces when you go through them, and the shrapnel does have hitboxes and you can land on it to fly in Sunny Flight, but on the downside, you can actually get bumped around by them when you're going through a level like this, and if you're not careful, you can end up being pushed into the water, and that's never fun. Just get a turn and animation cancel into that wall. Overall, good flight. And I'm on gem count too, which is good. Something I didn't mention is this game has, I call them stuck gems. They Sparks will just ignore them for whatever reason. Again, we don't really know. My theory is that... oh my god. Alright, did not get the fly-in. My theory is that the gems were placed just a little bit into the ground, but I don't really have a proof for that. But yeah, so I want to make sure my gem count's right there, because there's one gem around the side of that hut that the Sparks doesn't pick up, so I want to make sure I run through it. I'm gonna save and quit at the start of the level here, just for safety. One of the benefits of getting a fly-in is that when you save and quit to the main menu and come back, the game remembers where you were, but it doesn't keep track of what like health you had. So if I do that, I just quit to the main menu, continue, I get gold sparks. So that's a nice way to play it safe and get full health for the level. You don't want to be doing that because it loses time, but for marathon safety, because Misty Bog can be brutal sometimes. Oh. You gotta like jump over the frog's tongues and land on them, or else they'll hit you. So you saw I did it with the first two. Whoops. And I'm gonna do it with these two. Yeah. These enemies are just as brutal, I think maybe even more so than in the original game. Those trees, if you aren't quick with them, will destroy you. Whoops. Oh, yeah. Missed my flame input. A lot of the enemy placement here is kind of RNG, where the enemies will move around the entire time you're in the level. So where they are, like when you end up getting to them, is random. And I had to turn around and get that frog, because sometimes the boar will just kill him for you, but he did not in that case. And then right here, I'm going to be doing... Oh, don't miss that. Okay, that usually isn't a stuck gem, but right here, I'm going to land on a little invisible ledge there. Just lets you charge a little sooner, because charging is faster than gliding. Not really sure why that ledge is there, but, you know, not going to use it if it's there. And then going in the Guanton, there is a fodder right here, so I will get it for safety. Just get up to full health. They even gave me the extra life. How nice. Okay, there's one frog, the one on the right, that's been messing with me, where it doesn't attack until I land, and that's been messing with me up. Oh, yeah. Okay. Not a great bog, but we're alive, so... It's all that matters. We're alive. And then I'm gonna quit game again to get sparks back before I actually leave the level. Just a little bit of safety again. Like I said, the game has cursor memory. So if I were to quit game at the start of the level, or if I got the fly-in, you have to quit game. I would have to remember that at the end of the level, and I'd have to move up from quit game to exit level, and that can be annoying because the fly-in saves like 4.5 seconds, but quitting game on accident loses like 2 to 3, depending on how fast you menu. So it loses like most of the time you got from hitting the frame perfect pause. Ooh, big raid. Randy Ladyman. How's everyone doing tonight? Right at the start of treetops here, I'm actually gonna back up immediately and jump around like this, and that all. I was gonna skip the cutscene for the thief, but I just barely hit it, unfortunately. I'm gonna go for a cool strat here. This is probably a bad idea, but we're doing good so far. Everything's fine at the moment. The strat is, or this level, Treetops, infamous for its ramps, we make it even worse because we can. So I'm going to get all these enemies and fan chests here and then carry it over to this ramp. And then also get the spring chest and the metal chest. And then gonna take a death abuse to fall down. Yeah, I missed the jest there. Okay. And then I'm going to do this. Very nice. Yeah, so leaving those enemies that were like within that window was the dumb, risky strat I did, because you can actually drop down through the window and get those. It saves like 2 or 3 seconds for how hard it is. It's not worth it, but we're showing off a bit. And then if I do this right, I can bump off this corner and also get these spring chests. And then also gonna do, like I said, that your speed your speed goes up the longer you charge. So I stall on that ramp to be able to make it over here. Oh, okay. If you are really good, you can actually carry that supercharge to get that thief, everything up there, and then take it down here and break the fan chest with it. But that's really hard. And I'm not very good at it, so didn't quite get it. I'm just gonna take this supercharge, one last one over to here to get this one island we skipped. It's slightly faster. I say slightly, it's more like 5 seconds faster to go to the end island with the Vortex and get the key and get that stuff there, and then death abuse to go back over here, because it skips having to ride the whirlwind and fly back to the island afterwards. So now coming up is probably the only actually hard boss in this game. And it's not even really the boss himself, it's the pylons you have to break, and the cycles are random and annoying. Yes, also infamously known as Jankman, and I have not seen Jankman in a while, so we're gonna pray it doesn't happen in this run. Metalhead can just... It doesn't happen very often, but sometimes he can just freak out and do weird things. And more often than not, when something like that happens, it's you have to reset the level. There's nothing you can do about it. Jump down here to the secret sewer, grab the key. Not gonna use the key for quite a while, but do need it, unfortunately. Something else I don't think I've mentioned at this point is that these firework chests, if you charge into them like that, you do take a hit, but all the gems from inside the firework chest also home in immediately. So you'll see, like right there, I took the hit because it just collects them all instantly and I don't have to wait. Oh no. Didn't mean to hit that chicken. Not a big deal. And then this is the part that's annoying. These pillars all individually load in based on how far away you are, so the cycles are effectively like 100% random. There's like no way you could reasonably manipulate them. Oops. And you also have to deal with Metalhead throwing enemies, and the gems do not home in automatically like they do in the original game if the enemies like hit the back wall. So you do want to make sure you kill the enemies as they come at you, so that's why I just sat there and took that hit. Now hopefully we get a good cycle here. Yeah, gonna have to wait for him to throw so I can kill this guy, but otherwise pretty good. Oh, that can happen too. I'm gonna wait. Being a Sparkles here is really, really slow. Just take the second. pretty below average metalhead, but it can be much worse, so. Just gonna clean up all the gems. All the enemies that Metalhead throws you are actually like ammunition, and they're just sitting up there. And once you kill him, they all just instantly die. So that's why all those gems are sitting up there, if you did not know. I'm gonna try and do a thing. Okay. So if you, those two flame chests there, you can reach with one flame to get them both at the same time. But you want to flame the one in front first once, because if you break them both at the same time, the lids will actually collide with each other midair. Oh, a little slow. The lids will collide with each other midair and break each other. So if you break the one a flame earlier than the other, then it will fly off and kill that enemy on the electric floor. And then you break the other one, and that is the best way to do it. Oh. So far, so good. We're not missing any gems. 8,000. Luckily for this game, if you do miss a gem, because we have the guidebook warping, you can kind of just go back to the level and pick it up much quicker than the original game. But it's also a pretty big loadless time, or RTA time loss, I mean. So not something I would like to do in a marathon. Gonna clean up all the gems outside of Haunted, because we're gonna guidebook out into Dreamweavers, which skips having, you know, either Death Abuse or Ride the Whirlwinds. So we want to make sure to get everything before we go in. Got a couple more levels with supercharged strats. This is one of them. This and Lofty actually have the two most recent supercharged strats. They're like a little over a month old, actually. Things are still being found, which is I love to see. We had another supercharged strat, which is like the first part of it we still do, but then we added more to it, which makes it kind of ridiculous. You'll see when we get there. So the old strat used to be to just book it straight to the permanent fire power up, because you see, like, this fairy is giving me a like a strong flame that'll break metal, but it has that bar on the side that makes it run out. And there's one fairy near the end of the level that will give you a permanent one until you leave the level. And the old strat was to just go straight to that one and get that as soon as possible. But the new strat is gonna be involving getting a lot of supercharging. So we can't supercharge down there, so we clean up that island with the one super flame. Gonna get another kiss here. And we have plenty of time before it runs out to break this door. And then this is where the keyboard mouse stuff starts. Oops, not quite, not there. Oh, I didn't get that guy. Oh man, okay. That's one of the worst places to bonk too. That's unfortunate. So I got most of it. That's probably the hardest part too, is getting those two enemies and then taking it around that corner. If I were to continue it after that, I'd get that one metal guy that was right there, and then I would dip in to get one more metal guy and break a metal door, and then I would take it over to where I'm going now. So I'm just gonna go over here to build up some speed and then jump over to where I was supposed to go. I think that's actually the first supercharge strat that's gone wrong, which is very impressive. Very happy about that. And then this is the permanent flame. So now we don't have to worry about it running out. We'll just have the permanent fire breath for the rest of the level, which there actually isn't even too much to clean up, so. Yeah, one of the things I like a lot more about OG that this game doesn't have is if you break the metal chest and then like sit in them, they kind of all fountain straight into you, and it's really satisfying. In this game, when you break a metal chest like that, they have like they have like a second or two where you can't actually pick them up or touch them, so it's faster to just break it like that and then leave it and come back once they're all actually out. Not as satisfying, but... And then normally the level would end right there on that gem, but I'm gonna have to go over here and get these two metal guys that I didn't with the supercharge. Not too terrible. If you guys think like what you've seen so far is crazy, Lofty is by far the hardest one, so I'm really hoping we can show that off. Dark Passage is actually like deceptively hard. I used to think this level was pretty easy, and then once I figured out like the optimal cycles and was like getting good at them, it's like, oh, these are actually pretty hard to hit. So hopefully we can just hit all the cycles we want to. So the level revolves around these fools with the lanterns, and when they light up the lanterns, it'll shrink the enemies that you can kill them. We don't always have to get the fools. For the big metal... Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Got saved. For the big metal turtles, they have to be small for you to kill them, but for the dogs, you can flame them when they're big, so... Oh. Okay. Not terrible. Whoops. See right there. I don't know if you were able to notice it, but I killed that fodder, but because I was in the middle of picking up a gem, Sparks kept picking up the rest of them. Which does help out right there. I didn't really go for it, but nice little bonus. Give me the dog. Okay. Yeah, really not much going on here. It's just, killing a lot of the enemies. That's pretty much it. Then hopefully, yeah, that's on a good cycle. If that's not, you have to like go behind the turtle and get the fool, so. Nice cycle to be on. Coming up next is Icy Flight, which is the last flight level of the run. But before that, we're going to be doing the triple input cannon, so get to show that off. Like I said on the first one, I used right. Oh, I forgot to flame that guy. I use right on analog and D-pad at the same time to turn it twice as fast. But for this one, because you have to turn it a lot more, I'm going to use right on the keyboard as well. So I'm gonna. You can see the cannon flies. Get the extra life just for the sound effect while we're waiting. And then Icy. Like I said, last flight level to run. These lanterns in this level can be a little finicky. They haven't been giving me trouble recently, so hopefully they're fine. And then I'm going to be going for a trick at the end of this level. I explained in Sunny Flight that the animation cancel is when you like bonk into a wall or just an object to cancel like the fly and the fly up. But for the optimal route on this flight, you're like in the middle of an open space, so there's nothing to cancel the animation on. So I'm going to be going for a frame perfect pause where the game updates like how your completion on the flight every frame. So there'll be a frame where you flame the last enemy and you'll be at 180 gems in the pause menu. And then the next frame, it'll realize you completed that set and you'll be at 240. And then the frame after, it'll realize you finished all of them and you'll go up to 300. I'm going to try and pause in the frame where it's at 300, and then that way I'll be able to quit and not have to wait for the animation or for the retry screen. So right here, 180, 180, no. Unfortunate. So you got to watch the one animation. And then, oh boy, Lofty Castle time. Like I said, this is one of the newest supercharged, or it is like the newest supercharged route, and it is, even with how much I've practiced it, I'd probably have like a 30% success rate on it. So I'm gonna give it a few tries, but I can't promise anything. We're well under estimate pace right now, so I can give it a few tries. So at the start here, this route is gonna look kind of nonsensical. I'm gonna leave that bird, I'm gonna leave a red gem there. Yes, I know, you don't have to tell me, that's on purpose. Gonna jump down here, which makes no sense because we don't have the key, so why would we go down here, but just trust me. Gonna be leaving that red gem to my right too. Just miss gems all over the place. Leave a couple more reds there. And then hopefully I can... No, just barely missed it. If you play the level really well up to that point, you can make a good balloon cycle on that guy and not have to wait. Not a huge deal. I'm gonna leave the gems on the stairs behind there. All on purpose, I promise. Gonna have to wait on this cycle. It looks like you can make it, but you just can't. You're like just barely too slow. And then this is where the supercharged strat starts. Almost. Very, very close. Oh no, never mind. Sad. That was close. That was very close. That was like 2/3 of it, just a little bit short of that jump. Just pretend I made it up here, and then I'll continue as if I did. Get these red gems here, and then you would... Oh. Jumped a little too high there, so I'm just gonna slow down and get this. But yeah, you can see that getting everything right there and making sure you don't miss any of the individual gems with that supercharge can get very tough. Okay, almost jumped up. No! Oh no. I promise I just hit space on my keyboard. Okay, not a big deal. One more supercharge for the fans. Okay, then switch back to controller. Alright, could have gone better, could have gone worse. Oh. Just barely missed that. But yeah, hitting that whole entire supercharge strat without missing anything saves 20 seconds over the old route, so it's a very big time save. Oh. Messed up a little on the controls after the dragon. Should be getting 274 there. Yep. Okay, so we're all good on gems. This is the last like level boss, because there's Nasty as the final boss. This is like the last level boss, so still not harder than the other ones. Very easy. But now these fools raise these platforms and they're on timers once you flame them. So I'm gonna be flaming these fools and trying to, you know, like as early as possible and trying to get as much stuff as I can while I'm waiting for them. Oh, just barely made that. I'm gonna run past this dragon. Since the dragon puts you like closer to the stairs than to the boss when you get him, it's just tiniest bit faster to get him on the way back. And then jump through the bottom of the platform. That whirlwind just extends down through the bottom, so you can just do that. Very small time save, but it looks cool. And that's the final, that's the boss. Just flame him 3 times, that's it. Still has more health than Nasty though, so. Okay. Oh no. That fool's a little bit in the way, but we're fine. Still managing to get everything. Optimally, you could get that one fool really early, like before you start collecting anything in that area. But I'm just gonna play it safe and leave him because it's a pretty big time loss if you don't get here in time. And then something I don't think I've mentioned up to this point is for dragons, the button to skip the cutscene is triangle, but that's also the button to like zoom in and look around with Spyro. So when you're skipping dragon cutscenes, you need to know like which button press exactly is going to skip it. So you have to like keep track of like in your head how long until it's going to be skipped. So that way you can stop mashing right before and you don't get stuck looking around. Because if you're like looking around in Spyro's first person or whatever, you can't move until you press it again. So you don't want that to happen. Also, on any dragon where I'm going to be going straight or like pretty much straight after it, I hold square while mashing triangle because it'll immediately start charging and not do that once I finish the cutscene. So.
Are you ready to go?
Didn't mention it, but it's pretty important. $10,500 gems, perfect. Now we're going into the final homeworld, North Nexus. The way this works normally is that you have to leave through the vortex of the level. So like the first level, North Cove, is open right now, and you have to leave through the vortex to open Twilight, and then leave through the vortex of Twilight to open Nasty. But and I'm still going to be doing that, but in the case of 120, we have to complete the whole level and get all the gems anyways, so it's not that big of a deal. Doesn't really change much. Cove is another level that seems pretty straightforward, but it can be very deceptively hard. Because it's got a bunch of, there's no like singular difficult trick, but there's a lot of little tricks. So first thing, I'm going to be hitting this guy, and then I'm going to turn around and hit the barrel on the right spot on that wall. If you hit it too close to the chest, it'll lock onto it and not break it, counterintuitively. So you have to hit it in just the right spot so that it doesn't lock on, but it's close enough that it'll actually destroy it. Saves like half a second, but gonna do a boosted jump here to get on top of the bridge. Boosted jump gives you just that extra little bit of height to be able to make it up there. Whoops. Unfortunately, we don't have any TN trick or any alternative, so we do just have to run up here and go break that metal chest. So I left a lot of the stuff on the first trip, and now I'm going to clean it up on the way up. Whoops. Oh, I'm... Make sure I don't fall off. Oh. Whether this guy blows up automatically or not is based on like his animation cycle. Oops. So just got a little lucky there. Now right here, I did it on one barrel guy already, but I'm going to be doing boosted jumps to get enough over the barrel that I don't hit it, and I got all three. Wow, that is that never happens. It's a lot harder than it looks because you need to have like your height and your spacing just right so that you don't hit the barrel underneath him and take a hit. Gonna go keyless. Probably noticed in this game you do have to watch the key animation, so it's by far faster to break it with the barrel rather than using the key. Oh, Sparks didn't get that too. Nice floating gems. I didn't see them, but I believe you. That probably happened. And then the last supercharged level on the run, Twilight Harbor. There's one supercharged strat that's been done for a while and is pretty consistent. And then there's another one that in theory is possible, but I've never done it before, even in practice. But I'm gonna go for it because if you mess it up like halfway, it breaks even with just doing the normal route, and it looks funny. So just show it off a little bit. I'll point it out when we get to it. but for the first half of the level, we do just have to clean it up without supercharge. Just gonna be leaving this guy, but we're gonna be getting everything else that's kind of tucked into the walls. Oops. Alright, and then this is where the keyboard mouse starts. So ideally, I got half the stuff at the top on my first pass, got the metal chest, got that enemy, and then I'm gonna make a jump over here and get the last of the stuff, and then I'm going to get the slash gem and die. And 248, that means we got everything. Very good. This is where the funny haha strat is. This looks really dumb, because you'll see right here. I just go into the corner and it just slows me down entirely and turns me around, but you don't actually bonk for some reason. And then you can get these spring chests, and yeah, usually that's where it ends if you take a shot there. If you could, in theory, you could get all the enemies and gems in this room and then carry it down this pathway and go all the way to the Vortex with it. And if you were able to do that, it would save probably like 10 seconds or so. But I've gotten all the individual pieces in practice, but never once in like one full run through, so at the moment it's not possible. And that was the last supercharge strat of the run. Very sad. I kind of forgot. I said if I didn't get the last flying skip, I was going to go for other ones, but this is the last one, so nice. Okay, got to at least show it off. So it happened pretty quick, but you can tell you got it because if you pause on the right frame, the level on the bottom will say nasties, or like the level you're going into, in this case nasty, and it'll give you the exit level option, which normally you don't have in the home world because you're not in a level. So by doing that, getting that frame perfect pause and then saving and quitting and continuing, it puts you in the level and skips the load and the fly in, which for the levels we do, it saves like 4.5 seconds or so loadless. For whatever reason, it saves more time RTA, which makes no sense whatsoever, but SRT things. And now, another one of the hardest strats in the run is one cycle nasty. I'm gonna focus for a second and try and get it. I think that was a little too far out. Oh, and then I bumped the wall. There's no way that's it. I'm gonna skip these chests and see if I can get a little bit slower one. Okay, so ideally you can get like these chests too, but I messed up a little bit and was a little far behind, so it's much better than having to do another lap to just skip those and come back. It's in OG, it's pretty much free to be able to get everything in one cycle, but in this game it's very tight. There's a spot on like a line of blues, you might have noticed. It looked like I took a really bad line going up one of the ramps, but that was intentional because the closer you are to Nasty, the faster he moves. So by hugging the left side, you're staying just far enough away from him that he like slows down just enough to make it possible. So yeah, that was pretty much it, just a little slow. And then if you remember the cutscene skip from Nestor, you can do the same thing on Magnus. It's the other unskippable cutscene in this run. And we have everything going in the loot. Yeah, we got first try credit skip. Did you guys see that? Alright, so for the final trick of the run is if you saw the 2 NOS run at the start of the marathon, you might remember I also did a height cap break. I'm gonna do it first and then I'll explain what happened. All right. So it looks like I just flew up there, but in reality it was harder than that. If you don't know this level, it's supposed to be like you fly around freely, but there's a limit to how high you can fly until you get these thieves and unlock these doors. But by angling your analog slightly upwards, Spyro will be moving slightly downwards. And then if you hit down on the D-pad to like be going straight up before you hit the height cap, where it will like push you back down, and then let go of D-pad, the game will see you're only moving a little bit down on the analog. So it'll think you're moving down and not push you back down, when in reality you're going straight up, and you're able to just skip straight to the last key that doesn't even acknowledge you're there or move, and you can do the entire level out of order. And then time is coming up in like 20 seconds or so from now. It's when I hit the Vortex after the final room. Which, this is the final room I'm going into now. So I'm gonna bonk on the Spyro chest in a way that I can actually get 2 more with my iframes. And then I can come around here and pick up the end of the gems, and that's pretty much it. 2,000 and 2,000. And there we go. That's the run. For those that are wondering, that was a 1:12:30 in loadless time, which is about 2.5 minutes behind record. So very good run for a marathon. Very happy with that.
Saved all the dragons and recovered every bit of treasure in the Dragon Kingdom.
All right, good job, ToastedKat. Do you have any shoutouts you want to do?
Yeah, I want to shout out the Spyro community in general, but especially I want to shout out Logic, Cam, Bobby, Green, Nep, Lack, all the people who have pushed this category in particular and found a lot of the strats with you. So thank you guys for all your hard work. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. I feel like I watch 1, maybe 2 SRT runs of each game per year, and every time I do, I see all kinds of crazy new stuff blowing my mind. You really killed it with this. I loved it.
Thank you. Yeah, this category has changed a lot over the past year.
Anyway, if everybody enjoyed this taste of SRT, there's going to be a whole lot more of it in about 3 or 4 hours. But up next is Stand on 10 Portals in the original Spyro 2 Ripto's Rage. It's going to be done by Chouse Mouse with Blunt Bows helping with commentary. So stick around for that.